We have a devastating injury update coming out of San Antonio as Shams Charania has said that Victor Wembaynama will miss the entire season with a blood clot and deep vein thrombosis in his shoulder. We're going to talk about the implications on Mitch Johnson, the Spurs lineup, Wembanyama's health, and his career, and what this means for the Spurs going forward. The report itself, there's a lot of stuff we got to break down on this episode of Spurs Digest, and we're not going to waste any time. The official tweet here from Shams Charania. Look, we knew Victor Wembanyama coming into today, this game. He was doubtful, he was questionable, but this report caught us off guard. San Antonio Spurs All-Star Victor Wembanyama is expected to miss the remainder of the season with a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. Wembanyama has a form of blood clot in the right shoulder. He is out for the season. The Spurs believe this is an isolated condition. And just got to start by saying, like, come on, like, this is so brutal, and we just wish the best for Wembanyama. I see wishes from all over the NBA world for Wemby to come back from this, to be the best he can be, to wishing him health, and I hope you guys sharing that too. Leave some love down below for Wemby, right? He's in our hearts, obviously. This is such a scary thing. Like, blood clots are incredibly scary. Now, I am going to talk about some stuff, like, hopefully it's not as bad as it seems, because there is a little bit of a history with DVTs in the NBA recently that I want to get into. But again, this disqualifies Wemby from any awards. Of course, this season he did not meet that 60-game threshold, or whatever, is it 60, 66, something like that. Anyway, he's played 46 games this season. He was on track for an unbelievable year. He was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. 24.5 points a game, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. This guy is, as I say in every single episode, a good chance he can be a future GOAT of this sport, and it's just so brutal to hear this injury update. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. He's out for the season. Now, I want to talk about DVTs just briefly, and look, I'm not a medical expert. Do not take my opinion as fact, but I do want to highlight that Brandon Ingram also had a deep vein thrombosis in his right arm just 5 years ago. This was back in 2019. He missed the Lakers' past 2 games with shoulder pain, and then back when their coach was Luke Walton and Ingram was playing with LeBron. Anyway, all this stuff, he ended up missing the season. A deep venous thrombosis is a condition caused by a blood clot, frequently accompanied by swelling and pain in a limb. The condition usually occurs in legs, but can occur in the upper body. Now, the big important thing here is that in that Brandon Ingram case, every case is different, mind you. Again, I'm not going to give my medical opinion on what I think this, how this impacts Wembanyama's full career arc. No, because I don't know. But the fact that the Spurs say this is an isolated incident, and we have seen a deep vein thrombosis in the right upper body of another star player in just recent years, gives me at least some hope. So if maybe it was all doom and gloom and everyone's saying this is absolutely horrendous, this could be career ending, maybe it could be. I don't think it will be, though, just because of this. But again, I'm going to be done giving any medical advice opinions here, just giving the facts on what happened with Ingram before he came back, wishing the best for Wemby. Yeah, I mean, this is so sad, so brutal to read. I mean, after such a good season, and everyone from all over the NBA, like, I'm looking over at all my group chats for different teams, and people are saying like everyone is devastated at this. You hate to see this. But look, all we can do now is wish the best for his health and look at what this means for the Spurs going forward. That's all we can do. So, I mean, let's take a look at the depth chart right now. The big problem that's immediately evident is center depth. So, right now, the Spurs lineup just took a massive hit. This team no longer looks like a playoff contender. Look, I mean, I don't know if you could even say they were a playoff contender, but they were in the picture, right? How many games back of that 8 seed? What, like 5 games back of the 8 seed? Just 3.5 games back of a play-in spot? And with Wemby gone, right now, the roster just doesn't look like it's going to be able to carry that load, right? Wemby was such a big piece of this team, especially defensively, obviously. Now, while still putting in 24.5 a game on offense, his defense is what helped this team because the perimeter D has not been good. Wemby is that last line of defense. When he's been on versus off the court, the numbers on defense, they're starkly different. So right now, who's going to be running that 5? Is it going to be a guy like Sochan? Is he going to take that full-time role? Are we going to see Sandro get some more minutes? Like, Basse's still a little hurt. Don't know what's going on with Biyombo because that 10 days expiring soon and he hasn't been able to get any kind of playing time. I don't know, right? So right now, that's the Spurs' biggest pressing question. Is this team even going to be able to compete for a playoff spot with the team they have right now? Which forces me to pivot to another thought. And I hate thinking about this because, look, I want this team to be competitive as they can be. But with Wemby out, sometimes you have to make these executive decisions. De'Aaron Fox is going to be re-signing with you. Whenever that comes, it comes. But we know that he has an injury on his shooting hand. His left hand pinky needs surgery, and he's been playing through this injury for a while. So again, this is not my medical opinion. My opinion as a fan, though, is now with Wemby out for the season, this is the perfect time to say, hey, you know what? Like, I don't know if this team's going to be able to put together a playoff run. You never know. I'm not ever going to count the Spurs out. But if there's any time for De'Aaron Fox to take some time off, get that surgery that he said he was going to do in the offseason anyway, do it now, be fully healthy for training camp next year, this to me is the time to do it. So I don't know, like there's a couple of layers to this, because you also have Chris Paul, who signed on to this team to help the young guys that, compete ideally to some extent for a playoff spot. Don't know how he would feel about that. But again, say De'Aaron Fox goes out, you start starting Stephon Castle the rest of the way, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Vassell Barnes, and whoever you start at the 5. Or maybe Vassell Barnes Sochan, or Vassell Sochan Sandro. I don't know what you're going to do. You can give Stephon Castle some starting minutes. There's a few different ways you can take this, right? A few different ways to get some other guys some big minutes. Man, it hurts, man. It hurts. Like, I don't know. I'm just so frustrated by this. But again, trying to look positive, look towards the future. This is likely an isolated incident, as the Spurs said. The team still can be fun, and there can be some big things that we can glean out of the rest of this season. But ultimately, if we just look in a vacuum, especially if Fox does take time off for surgery, which we have no indication that he is going to do that, I'm just saying that a lot of fans would be calling for that. What we do have to look at is the draft pick situation, because right now Atlanta has, they've gone down to 15th. They're no longer a lottery team as of this moment. Actually, their Sacramento pick is going to be better than their own. Of course, after Sacramento traded De'Aaron Fox, they only have Levine and DeRozan, but still. Atlanta's pick has now fallen to 15. Chicago has not been winning very many games, so it's looking not that likely that Chicago's pick is going to end up right there outside the top 10, which is what it would need to. Or sorry, I keep talking about that. I keep talking about that Chicago pick. That's gone. How many times do I got to remind myself of that? Look, if you already typed out your angry comment, feel free to call me out. I realized partway through I was saying that. Doesn't matter. San Antonio right now sitting at 10th. That pick can go up higher, right? Right now, like the Spurs being 23 and 29, there's a couple teams like below them that could actually have some decent runs. I mean, Portland has had moments where they've been playing really, really well. 6-4 in their last 10. They were on a big win streak just before the All-Star break. A team like, I don't know, Brooklyn, probably not. I don't know, like Toronto wants to win a bit. Like, you got Philly as well, who naturally is a little better than their record shows in terms of roster talent. Look, I'm just saying, at this point, looking at this draft class, the top 3, 4, 5 picks all look pretty decent. I'm not saying tank, but I'm saying, like, at this point, with Wemby out for the season, with De'Aaron Fox, playing through an injury, he has stated that he's playing through pain in his left hand. With Stephon Castle showing that he is worthy of a starting role, this is, to me, the time where you just start doing this. Like, I know they still want to win games, and you're not going to sacrifice games just for the sake of sacrificing them. But if it comes with the longer term production of your team, the longer term health, the longer term benefit, I should say Fox does come back fully healthy for the next season after surgery. Say Stephon Castle gets this full set of games after the All-Star break as a starter, as a guy who's playing 30 minutes a night to help his development. And you get, Wemby taking care of his own health, doing everything he can to be back for next season. Chris Paul mentoring the young guys. There's not all is lost on that right now. So look, I'm devastated. I'm sure a lot of you guys are devastated. Leave some comments down below what you think this means for the Spurs. Is it time to go full tank? Is it time for Fox to step out from the team? Is it time to go bring in another big man on a 10-day? That's going to be something else that we got to talk about soon, because the center depth right now is extremely weak. So keep an eye on the Spurs to be making a move like that coming soon. But anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. We'll have more updates coming out on our channel as they come out. But if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, guys. We're pushing towards 6,000 subs. You made it almost 10 minutes into this video, and you haven't hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, you like what you see, we got daily San Antonio Spurs content. I've been your host, Josh Gosse. Wish Wemby the best, and we'll catch you all in the next one.